In this lesson, we're going to talk about the ongoing expenses related to owning a vehicle. So the first, probably one of the more significant expenses, is the cost of gas. Now, we use a measure called fuel efficiency to measure how much gas a vehicle will use over a certain distance. If your car has a lower fuel efficiency or uses less liters per kilometer, that's going to end up costing you less money. In Canada, we measure fuel efficiency in liters per 100 kilometers. So when we're doing fuel economy, we're going to do the number of liters used divided by the kilometers traveled, and then we multiply that by 100 since we're looking for the liters per 100 kilometers. That's the standard unit of measurement. So Anna has driven 220 kilometers since her last fill of gas. She fills her car up with 31 liters of gas. What was her fuel economy for the last 220 kilometers? So we take the 31 liters and divide it by 220 kilometers. That will give us our liters per kilometer, and then we multiply by 100. So she uses 14.09 liters per 100 kilometers. So that is the fuel efficiency or fuel economy of her vehicle. Now, if you want to determine how much it will cost you to drive your car, you can calculate how much gas will be used. So, if you want to figure out how much gas you will use, you will take the kilometers that you need to travel and divide it by 100 and then multiply it by your fuel economy. So, Simone has a 2010 Ford F-150 that has a fuel efficiency of 14.7 liters per 100 kilometers. She's going to drive 660 kilometers to Thunder Bay. How much gas will she use? So we're going to take the kilometers traveled, 660, and divide it by 100. And we will multiply it by her fuel efficiency, which is 14.7. 660 divided by 100 times 14.7 means that she will use 97.02 liters of gas. Now, if we want to calculate how much the trip will cost her, we just need to multiply this number of liters times the price per liter. So gas costs $1.21 per liter, and she needs 97.02 liters. So it will cost her $117.39 to make that trip and pay for the gas. Insurance is another cost that you must pay when you are driving a car in Canada. So the cost of insurance is going to depend on the value and type of car that you have. It'll depend on how old the car is, what model it is. It will depend if it's a car, a truck, or an SUV. And it will also matter what the value is or the price of the vehicle is. Your insurance cost will also depend on your driving record. So if you have been in lots of accidents in the past where you were the driver and you were at fault, your insurance will cost more money. That's because the insurance company will determine that you are more likely to get in an accident, so you will end up paying more for insurance. And they will also determine your insurance based on how often or why you drive your vehicle. So if you are using your vehicle to go to and from work or school every day, you'll pay for something called all-purpose insurance, whereas if you just use your vehicle on the weekends or just to go to the grocery store or more casually, you may be able to get just pleasure insurance, which will cost a little bit less money. The cost of insurance will also depend on the deductible you choose. And a deductible is a lump sum that you have to pay if you are at fault in an accident. So if you're in an accident, you will have to pay your deductible, and your insurance will cover the rest of the cost of any repairs or damages. The higher your deductible is, the lower your insurance will cost. In Manitoba, we use the MPI calculator to determine the insurance premium. So for our purposes in this unit, you don't need to do any calculations for insurance, but you do need to know the things that will influence the cost of the insurance. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the cost of maintenance and repairs. This can also be a significant cost when you own a vehicle. So when you are repairing a car, you will always have to pay for two things. One, you'll have to pay for the parts of the car, that is the physical parts of the vehicle that are being replaced, but you will also have to pay for the labor and the time that it takes for a mechanic to repair your vehicle. And both of those costs will have tax added to them. So if Hassan's car broke down, he needed a new water pump, which is $29.99, and a new thermostat, which is $8.99. It took the garage 0.8 hours to install both at a rate of $65 per hour. How much was the total bill? So I'm going to separate this into parts and labor. So for the parts, it's $29.99 for the pump and $8.99 for the thermostat. So $38.98, and there will be tax, both PST and GST. So times 1.12, $43.66. For the labor, it took 0.8 hours, and we multiply that by the hourly rate, so times $65. That will be $52, but again, we have to add tax. So it will be $58.24. So in order to find the total, we're just going to add these two things together. So the total bill will be $101.90. That's the total. Okay. Similarly, Lindsay takes her car to a Manitoba car dealership for servicing. The dealership charges $95 per hour for labor. The following items were replaced: 4 spark plugs for $3.25 each, 1 air filter for $14.50, and 1 headlight for $35. The job took 1.75 hours. Calculate the total cost of repairs, including taxes. So I am going to calculate the cost of the parts. Now what's different with this one is that we have 4 spark plugs at $3.25 each. So the easiest way to do this is to multiply $3.25 times 4, that's $13, plus an air filter for $14.50, plus a headlight for $35. So the total, 13 plus $14.50 plus 35 is $62.50, and I need to add tax. So that's $70 in parts. Now for the labor, it took 1.75 hours, and the rate is $95 an hour, so times 95. So 166.25, and again, we need to add tax. So 186.20. So the parts were 70. The labor was 186.20. So the total cost when I add those together will be $256.20. Last but not least, we deal with depreciation. Now, depreciation isn't a cost that you have to pay, but it is something to consider when you own a vehicle, because what it means is that your car is going to lose value as time passes. So that means if you own a vehicle for 5 or 10 years and then you decide to sell it, you won't be able to sell it for the same price that you bought it for. So in order to calculate depreciation, normally cars will depreciate by about 25% in the first year, and then they usually depreciate about 15% each year after that. So if Alan bought a new car 3 years ago for $24,995, and it depreciated at a rate of 20% the first year and 15% each year after that, what is the value of the car now? So we have to calculate this year by year. So I'm going to start by looking at the value of the car after year 1. So if it depreciated by 20%, I'm going to start by calculating 20% of the value. So remember, that's 0.20. So 20% means it lost $4,999 in value. So that means after 1 year, if we subtract the value of the car was $19,996. That's the value after 1 year. I'm then going to do those calculations again, but now after year 2. So the value after the first year was now $19,996, and it lost 15%, so 0.15. So it now lost $29.99 So again, take my starting value of 19,996 and subtract the amount that it depreciated by. So the value after year 2 is going to be $16,996.60. And finally, after year 3, I'm going to do the exact same calculation because again, it lost 15%. So it started at $16,996 and 60 cents, and it lost 15%. So it lost $2,549.49 in value, and I will subtract that from the value at the beginning of the year. So after 3 years, this vehicle will be worth $14,447.11. That's how you calculate depreciation on a vehicle.